Hello, everyone, and welcome to this in a series of webinars associated with Facebook Basic Principles for Hospitality Digital Marketing. I am your host, Lauren Gray, in which we're going to spend the next few minutes, hopefully uninterrupted, over just some of the basic principles associated with Facebook and some tool usage. And this is going to be a learn lesson as to what functionalities exist, and also basic understanding of where to find some of these details in its usage. What I'm going to do now is slide over to our slide deck here. This is in collaboration with my Hospitality Digital Marketing Service Program. This is a free webinar hosted on Webinar Jam, hence the sporadic screen sharing at this particular time. Macs don't work well with Chrome when it comes to dualities of screens, so I'll work this on another computer another time. But in the meanwhile, this is Facebook Fundamentals for Hospitality Series 1, Presentation 1, and I am your host and instructor, Lauren Gray. So what we're going to do is go over and do a quick social media overview. And with that, we're going to step into common social networks. Now, we're not, of course, touching on all of these in this session. We're instead just touching about the Facebook one at this particular time. But there are, of course, a host of others. Now, this is directly primarily associated with hospitality digital marketing. All of our conversations, topics, and processes are going to be in association to how to use these social platforms for hospitality, whether it be a hotel, restaurant, spa, or any other hospitality service. As you see, there are other programs that we'll be doing associated with Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, G+, not as much as it once was, Snapchat, YouTube, Vine, Foursquare, a lot of other location-based services in addition to Foursquare. And then, of course, we're going to talk about review-based, which is consumer side, the TripAdvisors, and the other consumer sites. Video-enhanced-based social networks, such as, of course, YouTube being the most primary one, which is up and above, but also Facebook's Live, as well as Blabcasts and Periscopes and Meerkats. And then, of course, a conversation content base, which goes into, again, the same type of live broadcasting, but then again, you're getting into blogs and podcasts in addition to that as well. So let's discuss Facebook right off the bat. Facebook is a social utility that connects almost 1.5 billion people. That is active daily users. That is not a fictitious number of people that may have an account and not operate it, but they are, in fact, active participating users. So, sorry, we have to keep changing screens when I do this. In other words, almost everyone and anyone is on Facebook of your consumers, and often expect you to be there as well. Facebook is a great way to promote your properties and connect with your guests and fans. I'm not going to too much read these. These are things you're going to be able to see. This, of course, is the better impression of what to do with Facebook. Facebook involves activities, promotions, events, things related to your amenities, which you can add menus, you can add your spa schedulings, you can add your reservations as links, you can actually give offers and opportunities for your amenities. You can share news that's of interest for those related to your product, and not always as a hard sell. That's not the purpose of social media, and we've had those conversations before, but in this particular context, social media is not a direct channel. It fails miserably at being a direct channel. It is an ancillary channel that is used to contribute towards your other conversion channels, such as your website or other sites that you're advertising on. This is a catalyst. It's a part of the attribution string. For those unfamiliar with that term, attribution is the giving of value to each of the steps in the process, from a guest's awareness of you, discovery of you, to their actual purchase with you. That is an attribution string. Also, you have things like you can place on news, your local community, information about your employees, events associated with their successes, employees of the month. People love to hear the behind the curtains or the real context of your business, not just what you're selling and how much you're selling it for, but you as a business. How do you relate to your community? How do you relate to your staff? How does your staff relate to you? What happens in your environment that may be of interest to someone, whether Brad Pitt walks into your lobby or whether or not you are the host of a great sporting event that you happen to be nearby, or provided some service in association with it. So with that, off to the next. Facebook's new use and current tools. This is a long list, and it's not a complete list, but these are the aspects associated with Facebook that you as a hotelier or a hospitality professional can use. Of course, here's your organic page. For those that may be moderately familiar with your organic page. This is a business page. This is not your personal page talking about you in your restaurant or you in your hotel. This is the page that was built specifically for your business entity. Now you have paid ads, which are within Facebook. That gets used by a tool called Power Editor, which is an editing tool which we will have more in series about this, and we'll touch a little bit more on it in just a few more slides. That can develop things like lookalike audiences. These audiences are mimicking within 1 to 5% exactly the very guests that can walk into your door, and we'll talk about how that all happens. You have partners versus broad categories. These are definitions of filterings that go on within the Power Editor or Ad Manager as to whom you're looking for as a client. If you haven't already developed digital avatars associated with your business profile, people that are coming into your hotel or restaurant at certain times of year, you need to do this. And no one better to do this than you and your staff. You know who walks in your door. Is it a family? Is it a business traveler? Is it young, old? Are they married? Are they single? Are they there because of the businesses around your area or the events around your area as a destination? All that lends itself to creating a digital avatar of whom your business person is at different business cycles of your property. And when you do those definitions and you equate to them based on your ADRs and average daily rates and so forth, what the income levels are necessary for them to be able to purchase and stay with you for the lengths of stay that they do, these all help in finiting a list that is used for your advertisement so that you're actually talking to people that are most interested in what you have to say, not people that wish they could come and stay but have no interest in staying. They're either not located in the right location, they're not one of your feeder markets, or they simply just don't have the income to take advantage of what it is you're talking about. Of course, there's email targeting, which goes towards your lookalike audiences and custom audiences. There's dark and ghost posting, which sounds ominous, but in fact, all it is creating posts that the general public do not see because they do not go into your news feed, which is the central column of information on your Facebook page. And so you can be repetitious about these postings and get using these posts so that they show as postings in other people's news feeds and not as ads that you see to the right side. Now, with over 60% of all traffic now being associated with mobile, and mobile being phones, not even including tablets, that means that everything is in a linear view, just like on your mobile phone, whether it be iPhone or Android. And so those sidebars that you see on desktops don't normally get seen on mobile anyway. So these are turning to be more and more important, useful tools by creating posts that you can use for your advertising efforts. You have groups, which is a facet of Facebook. It's a tricky subject to use and how to use them. They have to be very defined as to what their purpose is. And we'll talk about those in future series of discussions. Facebook apps, of course, there's almost an endless variety of apps. We'll touch on one of them later on in the deck. Open Graph Search is your methodology of search within Facebook, which is the search bar up top where you can say people that like a certain page and a certain page, or just like this and like this. And it creates a list of people that you can identify as to those who might like your competitor or like a product that's nearby for you that might also like you, so you can see who was already following you and someone else. Custom audiences we touched on. Facebook pixel tracking is a part of the process of a Power Editor or Ad Manager that allows you to garner data from your own website so that you can use the people that are visiting your own website to retarget them for advertisement on Facebook. There's types of ads like carousel ads, which I'm sure you've already been exposed to if you do actively use Facebook, that are a series of pictures side by side that scroll by the user so that you can offer multiples of things within a single ad. Blueprint is a method of learning, personally learning, the ability to use Facebook. A lot of what we're talking about and more is in the Blueprint program for Facebook. Of course, they want you to learn their product because they want you to spend money with them. So they've built a nice training tutorial academy for you to learn all those processes in a basic form, and that is called Facebook Blueprint. Of course, Instagram is owned by Facebook, so there's ad integration for Instagram. Facebook Live Video is something that has just recently come out to the general usage, right now specifically on iPhone, soon to be on Android, just now in the US and a few other Western European and Australian countries. But it's a very useful tool because Facebook tends to prefer exposure of its new tools. So doing a little on something that they want to push gets a lot of exposure, and Facebook Live Video is one of those. Another thing that they've just recently released is the 360 videos. If you haven't seen it, 2016 is the year of 360 videos, not just for Google Cardboard, which is virtual reality, but for the ability to see more than just the dimensional singular view of a video. It allows you to spin the video around to see as if you were standing there, both on your computer and also if you were to use virtual reality with your phone. There's also local directories and local-based targeting. This is the ability to create a geographic center to your advertisement or even to your postings, so that if you're offering something that is usable that day, you're not talking to somebody that's halfway across the country. You can make sure that that post gets seen by somebody that's in the proximity to actually use it. Long list, but we will touch on some of those things in the 4 categories of typing of brand, optimization, curation of conversation, and promotions. First off, brand. Brand is very important to make sure that you handle fundamental aspects of what it is that you show up on your page. Make sure that you use high resolution for all of your images at the right size. Just don't shoehorn in an image and it gets cut off on the corners, or it doesn't fit into the little square. There are plenty of self-help guides. I do have links on the website already for cheat sheets as to what these sizes of images are. It is very simplistic to go over and change those sizes. I also have links on services that will do it for you for free. So one of the most important ones, of course, is your company logo. Making sure that your content is properly categorized, that you're in the right categories under your administration page, that you are referring to yourself under the context of your business type. Of course, high resolution images for your headers, frequency of changing those, seasonality. Nobody likes seeing a winter picture in the middle of summer if it's not promoting the fact that you have something of winter to offer them. If you're in Australia and you're catering to the North American market, that might work, but in reverse, not so much. And of course, there is things of claiming your own unique F&B of your Facebook URL. And by doing that, there is a link on the website as well of where to go that you look to see if the name of your company is available or something close to it. And once you do, it is set in stone. Once you've done it once, you cannot undo it. So make sure you choose correctly with it. A word of to the wise is try to think large. If you're located in a city and nobody's claimed that city versus the type of industry you are, then say you're that city's hotel. It helps in the sense of searchability and Facebook. If they're looking for the city and the product, that you'll show up. Of course, if that is already taken, then of course go down to your own business name directly. So again, pro tip here is matching all your imageries so that there's a cohesiveness to the product that you're representing on your brand page. Optimization, this goes into your page information. This is filling out your proper name, address, and phone number. That's now commonly referred to as NAP. Make sure that all of this is interesting for you to be used within the Facebook searchability, for Facebook to know your business location in comparison to those that are using it on their mobile phone. This is critical information to make sure that they're filled out correctly. Also, too, short descriptions. It is just as important to make sure that you're concise with your description of yourself as it is for what you do for your website when it comes to keyword searches and keyword optimization, so that you're showing up for what you should be showing up for. Don't show up or try to show up for what you are not related to. It only creates frustration and disappointment, and you get penalized by both Facebook and Google in the long run. Curated conversation. With all of this, you need to make sure that the content typically falls within the following categories of links, text, offers, videos. Of course, anything that has an image and that has video to it is much more engaged in people's usage of it than just a simple text statement. And of course, as mentioned earlier, this is not a direct channel. It's an ancillary channel that helps in the conversion of your other channels. So it's not always hard sell. You create storylines that coincidentally time to the interest levels of what the context of the story is. So if you're going to be talking about spring break, you can start talking about spring break things to do in January, so that by the time March rolls around, your storyline for spring break has kind of reached its apex at about the same time that the interest in your website for your hotel and the destination of spring break is also reaching its highlighted of interest. So curating your conversation is very important to this. Again, simple guidelines as to what images that you're using and its correlation to the context that you're referring to them on. Nobody likes seeing a picture that draws their attention only to find out the message doesn't match the image itself. And always making sure that you use a well-balanced approach to all of this. It's not just talking about the same thing over and over. It's not talking about or sending the same message, whether it be a video, image, or text over and over. You run several storylines together at different times for different reasons, so that the mix of the conversation appeals to the audience that it was designed for. And that's content and curated conventions of what you're doing with your products and your interest of message on your Facebook page. Again, guidelines that you can follow through when you replay this. Don't want to read every section that we're going through, but it's important to make sure you understand the value of curated conversations. Of course, this is optimum as a pro tip. Most people think that the overwhelming demand of social media is this constant need to be posting at the time that it needs to be seen. If you create a content calendar, which is a lot like your marketing calendars, which is nothing more than a forward-thinking look at things that you know are of market value or of interest to your potential guests, like holidays, events, those are easy ones. Those are evergreen statements. Mother's Day is Mother's Day. Spring break is spring break. St. Patrick's Day is St. Patrick's Day. So all of those are pretty standard, and you can have your content created in a content calendar where you look for the images ahead of time. If you have a St. Patrick's Day dinner special, then you have the menu and you have the pricing and you have a link if you want to do online bookings. All of that is all prepped and then scheduled from your content calendar, so that you don't have to be there at 5 o'clock XYZ day posting it because at 5 o'clock that's when you wanted it seen. You schedule with Facebook Scheduler so that it goes out when you think it's best to be going out, and we'll talk a little bit more about how to define what those times may be. Here's an example of a content calendar outline. This is simplistic. There are many variations to it, and a lot of them are free. So you don't have to worry about having to pay for these platforms to do this for you. And all this does is really show you the date and the platform that you would be producing this on. Now, of course, you'll have a Twitter calendar, you'll have an Instagram calendar, you'll have all these social platform calendars, and they'll be all in one calendar listing. So as you do for one platform, because it's the best platform to get the message across, you may have ghosts or variations of that same post on other social platforms because they also have value and merit. If you need a link, if you need an image, what you're going to say, all has to be put here so that when it comes time for scheduling, you simply look to here to make sure that it's scheduled based on the timelines that you wanted them to take. To the right, you'll see tips of success for all of these. Again, pausing this, you can look on the recording to see exactly step by step. This is a great slide to go back to as you're trying to produce your own content calendar. And as a reminder to everyone, this is what the Hospitality Digital Marketing does. We provide this as service instruction. We help design and develop market strategies to use these things so that you optimize the value of your social media efforts, and not just do it for doing its sake, but you do it to augment the conversions of your other channels like your website and so forth. Okay, Open Graph Search. These are some examples associated with what happens. These are some great searches you can do. Groups of people that like certain things or like certain things and certain things. It helps you identify whom these audiences are so that you can better identify the message that you need to send to these people. And now promote. We had touched on some of these things. You have your Facebook ads, which include remarketing, and you also have your boosted posts, which is a lot like a shotgun. They have added some filterings to it now in recent months, which makes it more efficient. But if I had a choice between using Power Editor, Ad Manager, and Boosted Post, the least I would want to use is Boosted Post. The next would be an Ad Manager because it has limitations as to some of the tools. And the most optimum platform, which is free and offered by Facebook, is called Power Editor, where you have much more control over the filters that will identify whom sees what and for what reason you show it, and how to develop those promotions. So I would say the Boosted Post is my least favorite, but if it's a quick conversion or you want to just speak to a larger audience of people that you're already connected to, Boosted Post is a function of that. You have video ads, you have Canvas ads. Canvas is a new tool having been introduced to Facebook. It's a means of, instead of you going back to that resizing the right pictures for your ads and having the right verbiage and character counts and colors and fonts, Canvas helps you build all of that. You decide it once and that's your brand, and then from there, every time you need to produce an ad, Canvas helps you with that. Carousel ads is a type of ad. Location-based ads is a filtered type of ad. Custom audience ads, and we might mention this at this particular time, custom audience ads is taking your own database of people that have stayed at your business or have participated in your business as guests, and taking their emails and giving them to Facebook and saying, Facebook, who of these emails, just the emails, do you recognize? And what happens is Facebook will say, oh, I recognize this many out of this list. Now, you don't know individually whom they are anymore, but Facebook knows them as to who their personas are on Facebook if they use that email that you provided. So all the information that Facebook knows about them, just like you, your date of birth, where you live, where you work, who your friends, what pictures you like, what content you post, what videos you like, what all this information that Facebook knows about you now turns into filterable content for ads to be produced to the very audience that has already used your product. So if you wanted to talk to just people around you by 150 miles, which is like your drive market, and you want to offer them something that was 2 weeks out, because obviously the drive market would be more interested than somebody that would have to fly from the other side of the country, you can make that as a filter. There's a lot more filtering that you can do beyond that, but it gives you a sense of how nice that is, that you can create that unique relationship based on the type of digital avatar that your guest is for that time of year. So if you want to talk to married families with teenage kids that are within 150 miles that make a $250,000 in income, or $100,000 in income, or $50,000 in income, then you can make a custom audience and then make an ad to those people so that only they see your ads. So you're not spending money on putting an ad in front of somebody that has no interest in what you're having to say. There is also the ability to create customized website retargeting ads. And what that is going back to the Facebook pixel. Putting the Facebook pixel on your website allows you to track who goes to what pages in your website, and they in turn can create custom audiences. So picture if you had a pixel on your weddings page, you could create a custom audience from people who visited your weddings page to maybe offer them a weddings incentive because they went to your weddings page. You know there's a general interest to this. Now, the real powerful addition to custom audiences is the lookalike campaign ads. And lookalike campaigns is where you take your custom audience that Facebook has made for you out of the list that you've provided. And then you ask Facebook, out of everybody you know in this particular country, say the United States, who is within either 1% exactly the same of this list, this customized my previous guest, or within 5%, which would make a larger list. And that is out of what they said was 2,800 variables that they account for. So now what this does is it makes a huge lookalike list that is within, say, 1% of just exactly the same of the type of person that has already enjoyed your product. Then now you have an audience that has never used or seen your product, but probably is really interested in it because they're very, very similar to the people that have already appreciated your product. And the same filtering goes on. Their locations, their incomes, their family statuses, their interests, all those are controllable filters so that the ads show up for just them. So that's the power of the lookalike campaign. Paid ads, here's an example. There's methodology as to what you're focusing on when you're doing paid ad. Are you looking for website conversions? Are you looking for people to like your page? You're looking for them to engage in what you're posting. All of them have their own type of value when you're choosing them. That will be expanded upon another series of conversations that we have, but this is for awareness that these are the different types of paid ad engagements that you can create for them. This is an example of Power Editor, and Power Editor, again, is what I was referring to as the ability to filter with a lot of different criteria whom the audience is that you're driving the ad to, whether it be by age, by income, by location, by interests, by family statuses. Tremendous amount of information available to create the filtering needed to show the ad only to the people that would have the highest interest in what you have to say. Here's a useful Facebook app. This one's called That's Biz. This was used in the idea that every restaurant, as an example on this one, has a lunchtime. And of course, sometimes with these restaurants, you have a good outside seating portion. Well, with bad weather, that seating goes away. So you know that if you're a known for outdoor seating restaurant, as an example, and it's a rainy day, for instance, a chef could go over and say, well, I'm offering buy one lunch, get the other one half off. And they can take your filtered lists, just like we've been talking about, and send an ad to them within, say, 3 to 5 miles, whether they're working at certain office types or whether they're just in the radius themselves, demographically or whatever, and send them a link that says, hey, bring this in and show this QR code ad on my phone, and you'll get whatever it is that I'm offering. And this is a controllable thing. You can either have it by quantity or by date, by expiration, whatever. And every server has their own phone, and these scannable apps are for free. So all they have to do is scan this QR code, and it says, oh, this coupon is valid or it's not valid. And once it's done, then they go in and set into your PMS system or POS system and give the corresponding discount. So it's an example of a Facebook ad being used with these filters on your Facebook page, in particular this one being the restaurant. Lookalike audiences that we mentioned is the ability to expand upon your custom audiences for all those that are very similar to them and only have never had their product before, so that it gives them a high propensity of interest because they're very similar to the people of whom you made a custom audience for. Custom audiences, again, this is simply an example of how it looks when you create these custom audiences. Now remember, just as much as making these custom audiences for people that have visited your wedding page, for instance, you can make a lookalike audience for that same custom audience and expand the opportunity for people that may not even have discovered your hotel's website for weddings, but are very similar to the people that did, so that it gives you a broader opportunity to advertise to them as well. And there we are with custom audiences. Facebook filtering settings. This is a functional tool that just, even if you don't need to pay for services, just to be able to finite whom sees your posts, you're able to toggle on a function that says post privacy settings allow me to filter. Now what that does is that it adds another level of targeting. Now right now, if you were to look, if you haven't set this up, you can target up, you can add a photo to your posting, you can indicate the location you're at, but very little else. Here, and you put emoticon on. Here, it adds additional targeting where you can actually now say, well, I only want to show to a certain gender. I only want to show to a certain age or in a certain location, educational status, whatever, relationship, married or single. An example of usability of this is if, in this case, a restaurant where they wanted to do a busier Friday night crowd, they were able to isolate all females that were indicated that were single that liked live music within a 3-mile radius at 5 o'clock to show the post and get free parking. And they were able to indicate it for doing it for free by saying all females, single, 3 miles, boom, and they were able to post that in. So there's more examples of Power Editor with the advanced options. Now this is to be brought up that not only does Facebook have its own information, but they partnered with data sources like Axiom, Datalogix, Epsilon, and these are data sources. You've heard of big data, and data is the new currency of the realm kind of thing. Well, every time you apply for a home or car or medical things and so forth, that generates data. And it doesn't necessarily get tied individually to you, but it gets tied to the type of person you are, the demographic profile you are. So in these partnership categories, you can trace down people based on income, if they magazine subscriptions, if they have a certain family status, income status, they own a certain home, they own a certain car. All that information also comes into the ability to filter, so that if you see a lot of people driving a certain type of car from a certain location at a certain age, of a certain ethnicity, or whether or not they're a certain family type with a certain age of children, all that is choosable in this filtration of this Power Editor, so that when you create an ad, it's speaking directly to all those filtered exceptions that you've created. Again, custom audiences. Dark and ghost posting, went over that. This is the ability to post without it being repetitive in your own page's newsfeed, but you can use it for your advertising schedule. Measuring Facebook. This is where you begin to get the impact of comparing this to your data and statistics from your website with the statistics that are showing up from your Facebook page as well. Now, if you don't have access to your own Google Analytics, if you're a branded hotel or so forth, this might be your only source of demographic feedback. It's very valuable. You get to see a tremendous amount of the interactions of what you do on your Facebook page, of whom either likes it, shares it, clicks through it, acts on it. All those have different values. I mean, just as you engage with Facebook already, if you just like something, it's a passing thing to say you acknowledge seeing it and enjoying it. If in fact you commented on it or shared it with somebody else, or if it was a call to action of some sort and you actually clicked through on that, obviously you can see the important increase in value that each of those types of engagements have in comparison to the previous. This gives you a chance to see that that post about a certain event that you did on a certain Thursday and a certain afternoon with a certain picture had a certain engagement. And because of that, you may want to repeat that process, but change one thing in an A/B test sort of way to see whether or not it was the picture or the message or the timing or the recipient. And by doing that, you learn how best to be able to do the next post for the related content at the what time or what type is necessary by doing that type of testing, by reviewing these types of metrics. These are more examples of the metrics of age and who engages, how they engage, not just by in general your page, but also all the things that you post and share on your page as well. To that gives you a start to the entire process. That is a Facebook for Hospitality Series 1, Presentation 1, to give you a taste and a touch of where all of this can go. And this is just about one social platform, albeit one of the biggest and the strongest and most influential, but one of the ones that can be most of help to you as you try to begin to create that unique and diverse digital marketing strategy for your own hotel. If you should have any other following questions, please reach out to me on the website. There is email login for newsletters. There is email questions that you may have. You can email me directly at lauren@hospitalitydigitalmarketing.com. We will have a continuation of this series. First, we're going to touch on each of the social platforms at the level that we just touched on Facebook. So the next one, of course, will be Twitter. And then after that, we'll begin the series into a second level, which will be on how to begin to actually functionally do some of the things that we just briefly touched on with today. So for that, I thank you very much. And hope that you join our next broadcast webinar very soon. And thank you, and have a very, very good day.